The Experiment, a New Year's Eve ghost story by Emma James. The Reverend Dr. Hall was in his study making up entries for the year in the parish register. It being his custom to note baptisms, weddings, and burials in a paper book as they occurred and in the last days of December, to write them out fairly in the vellum that was kept in the parish chest. To him entered his housekeeper in evident agitation. "Oh, sir," said she, "whatever do you think? The poor squire's gone." "The squire?" "Squire Bowles, what are you talking about, woman? Why, only yesterday." "Yes, I know, sir, but it's the truth. Wickham, the clerk, just left word on his way down to toll the bell. You'll hear it yourself in a minute. There now, just listen." Sure enough, the sound broke on the still night, not loud, for the rectory did not immediately join the churchyard. Dr. Hall rose hastily. "Terrible, terrible," he said. "I must see them at the hall at once." "He seemed so greatly better yesterday." He paused. "Did you hear any word of the sickness having come this way at all? There was nothing said in Norwich. It seemed so sudden." "No, indeed, sir, no such thing. Just caught away with the choking in his throat." Wickham says it do make one feel well. I'm sure I had to set down as much as a minute or more. I come over that queer when I heard the words, and by what I could understand, they'll be asking for the burial very quick. There's some can't bear the thought of the cold corpse lying in the house, and yes, well, I must find out from Madame Bowles herself or Mr. Joseph. Get me my cloak, will you? Oh, and could you let Wickham know that I'll desire to see him when the tolling is over?" He hurried off. In an hour's time, he was back and found Wickham waiting for him. "There is work for you, Wickham," he said as they threw off his clerk, "and not much overtime to do it in." "Yes, sir," said Wickham. "The vault to be open, to be sure." No, that's not the message I have. The poor squire, they tell me, charged him before. Not to lay him in the chancel. It was to be an earth grave in the yard on the north side." He stopped in an articulate explanation from the clerk. "Well," he said. I ask pardon, sir," said Wickham in a shocked voice, "but did I understand you right? No vault, you saying, on the north side? Tsk. Why, the poor gentleman must be a wandering." "Yes, it does seem strange to me, too," said Hall, "but no. Mr. Joseph tells me it was his father's, I should say stepfather's, clear wish, expressed more than once, and when he was in good health, clean earth and open air, you know, of course. The poor squire had his fancies, so he never spoke of this one to me. And there's another thing, Wickham, no coffin." "Oh, dear, sir," said Wickham, yet more shocked. "Oh, that'll make sad talk, that will. One disappointment for Wright, too. I know he'd looked out some beautiful wood for the squire and had it by him years past." Well, perhaps the family will make it up to Wright in some way," said the rector rather impatiently, "but what would you have to do is to get the grave dug and all the things in all readiness. Torches from Wright, you must not forget. By 10 o'clock tomorrow night. I don't doubt but there will be somewhat coming to you for your pains and hurry." "Very well, sir, if those be the orders, I must do my best to carry them out. And should I call on my way down and send the woman to the hall to lay out the body, sir?" "No, that I think I am sure was not spoken of. Mr. Joseph will send, no doubt, if they are needed. No, you have enough without that. Good night, Wickham. I was making up the registers when this doleful news came. Little had I thought to add such an entry to them as I must now." All things had been done in decent order. The torch-lighted cortege had passed from the hall through the park up the Lime Avenue on the top of the knoll on which the church stood. All the village had been there, and such neighbors as could be warned in the few hours available. There was no great surprise at the hurry. Formalities of law were none then, and no one blamed the stricken widow for hastening to lay her dead to rest. Nor did anyone look to see her following in the funeral train. Her son Joseph, only issue of her first marriage with the Calvert of Yorkshire, was the chief mourner. There were indeed no kinsfolk on Squire Bowles' side who could have been bidden. The will executed at the time of the squire's second marriage left everything to the widow. And what was everything? Land, house, furniture, pictures, plates were all obvious, but there should have been accumulations in coin, and beyond a few hundred in the hands of agents, honest men, and no embezzlers, cash there was none. Yet Francis Bowles had for years received good rents and paid little out. Nor was he a reputed miser. He kept a good table, and money was always forthcoming for the moderate spendings of his wife and stepson. Joseph Calvert had maintained ungrudgingly at school and college. What then had he done with it all? No ransacking of the house brought any secret hoard delight. No servant, old or young, had any tale to tell of meeting the squire in unexpected places at strange hours. No, Madame Bowles and her son were fairly nonplussed as they sat one evening in the parlor discussing the pamphlets one at a time. "You've been at his books and papers, Joseph, again today, haven't you?" "Yes, mother, and no forwarder." What was it he would be writing at? Why was he always sending letters to Mr. Fowler at Gloucester?" "Why, you know he had a mag about the middle state of the soul. 'Twas over that he and that other were always busy. The last thing he would write would be a letter that he never finished. I'll fetch it. Yes, the same song over again. Honored friend, I shall make some slow advances in our studies, but I know not well how far to trust our authors. Here is one lately come to my way who will have it that for a time after the death the soul is under control of certain spirits as Raphael, and another whom I doubtfully read as Nereus, but who was so nearest to the state of life that on prayer to him he may be free to come and disclose matters to the living. Come, indeed he must, if ye be rightly called, the manner of which is set forth in an experiment. But having come and once opened his mouth, it may chance that his summoner shall see and hear more than the hid treasure which is likely to be bargained for, since the experiment puts this in the forefront of things to be inquired. But the eftest way to send you the whole which herewith I do, copied from a book of recipes which I had of good Bishop Moore. Here Joseph stopped and made no comment, gazing on the paper. For more than a minute nothing was said. Then Madame Bowles, drawing her needle through her work and looking at it, coughed and said, "There was no more written?" "No, nothing, mother." "No, well, it is strange stuff. Did you ever meet this Mr. Fowler?" "Yes, it might be once or twice in Oxford. A civil enough gentleman." "Now I think of it," she said, "it would be but right to acquaint him with and what was this happened. They were close friends." "Yes, Joseph, you should do that. You will know what to be said in the letters, his after all." "You are in the right, mother, and I'll not delay it." And forthwith he sat down to write. From Norfolk to Gloucester was no quick transit, but a letter went, and a larger pack came in answer. And there were more evening talks in the panelled parlour at the hall. At the close of one these words were said, "Tonight, then, if you are certain of yourself, go round to the field path. Aye, and there is a cloth will serve." "What cloth is that, mother? A napkin?" "Yes, of a kind. What matter?" So he went out by the way of the garden, and she stood in the door, musing with her hand on her mouth. Then the hand dropped, and she said half aloud, If only I had not been so hurried." But it was the face cloth, sure enough. It was a very dark night, and the spring wind blew over the black fields loud enough to drown any sounds of shouting or calling. If calling there was no voice, nor any that answered, nor any of that regarded yet. Next morning Joseph's mother was early in his chamber. "Give me the cloth," she said. "The maids must not find it, and tell me quick." Joseph, seated on the side of his bed with his head in his hands, looked up at her with bloodshot eyes. "We have opened his mouth," he said. "Why in God's name did you leave his face bare?" "How could I help it? You know how I was hurried that day." "But do you mean you saw it?" Joseph only ground and sunk his teeth into his hands again. Then in a low voice he said, "You should see it too." With a dreadful gasp she clutched at the bedpost and clung to it. "Oh, but he's angry," Joseph went on. "He was only biding his time, I'm sure." The words were scarce out of my mouth when I heard like the snarl of a dog under there. He got up and paced the room. "And what can we do? He's free, and I daren't meet him. I daren't take the drink and go where he is. I daren't lay there another night." "Oh, why'd you do it? We could have waited." "Hush," said the mother. Her lips were dry. "'Twas you know it as much as I. Besides, what use in talking? Listen to me. 'Tis but 6 o'clock. There's money to cross the water, such as they can't follow. Yarmouth's not so far, and most night boats sail for Holland, I've heard. See you to the horses. I can be ready." Joseph stared at her. "What will they say here?" "What? Why, cannot you tell the parson we have wind of property lying in Amsterdam, which we must claim or lose? Go, or you are not man enough for there. Lie here again tonight." He shivered and went. That evening after dark, a boatman lumbered into an inn on Yarmouth Quay, where a man and woman sat with saddlebags on the floor by them. "Ready are you, mistress and gentlemen," he said. "She sails before the hour, and my other passenger he's waiting on the quay. Be there all your baggage," and he picked up the bags. "Yes, we travel late," said Joseph. "And you have more company bound for Holland?" "Just the one," said the boatman. "And he seemed to travel lighter yet." "Do you know him?" said Madame Bowles. She laid her hand on Joseph's arm, and they both paused in doorway. "Why, no, but for all he's hooded, I know him again fast enough. He's have such a curious way of speaking, and I doubt you'll find he knows you. But what he said, 'Go you and fetch him out,' he says, 'and I'll wait on him here,' he say. And sure enough, he's a-coming this way now." Poisoning of a husband was petty treason then, and women guilty of it were strangled at the stake and burnt. The assize records of Norwich tell of a woman, so dealt with and of her son, hanged thereafter, convict of their own confession made before the rector of their parish, the name of which I withheld, for there is still treasure to be found there. Bishop Moore's book of recipes is now in the University Library at Cambridge, marked DD 1145, and on the leaf numbered 144 this is written: "An experiment, most oft proved true, to find out treasure hidden in the ground, theft, manslaughter, or any other thing. Go to the grave of a dead man, and 3 times call him by his name at the head of the grave, and say, 'Thou, name, I conjure thee, require thee, and I charge thee, by this Christendom, that thou takest leave of the Lord Raphael and Nereus, and then ask thee this night to come and tell me, Twilly, of the treasure that lieth hid in such a place. Then take of the earth of the grave at the dead body's head, and knit it in a linen cloth, and put it under thy right ear, and sleep thereupon. And wheresoever thou liest or sleepeth that night, he will corn and tell thee truly in waking or sleeping. That was the experiment by M.R. Jeans. Very good story. I like this one. It's short and fast and punchy. I like it. So, obviously it doesn't go so well for the husband. But I love M.R. James. I was telling you about that I feel like I get requests from the other side of the veil. Definitely M.R. James. I feel like I've interacted with him a bunch. And he's quite something. He's quite something. They don't make them like that anymore. I have to say that. But it was just, wow. What a man. What a man. So, I've had several of these authors come to me. Ambrose Bierce, Elliot O'Donnell. And Ambrose Bierce, I asked him what happened to him. And it seems that because he disappeared around the Mexico-U.S. border. And from what I can gather from him, the impression I picked up, the energy, if you want to say, was that this, somebody in this group he was staying with got jealous, thought that he was after that person's partner. He wasn't. And that person's partner and he were not involved, but he didn't believe it. So he basically executed him for that. Because I saw when I was asking him what happened to you, I saw him like get shot, execution style, which is like somebody kneeling down and then they're like shot in the back of the head or the front, depends. So let's pull your cards. You got 3 of Swords is reverse. You're healing from heartbreak of some kind. The 3 of Wands, the looking forward though is pause. So there is healing going on, but there's some stuck energy. And the 5 of Cups is reverse. So you regret something that ended a certain way with somebody, and it seems like you're going to maybe try to like do something about that. Like you're going to maybe try to make amends with them or something. So, okay, that being said, come on, get away from, look, this is my cat and I love her, but she likes to try to put her mouth or her other parts near my drinking apparatuses. And it's like, excuse me, no. So this is Ruby. She is a little queen, a little empress, a spoiled brat. A baby very much, but a spoiled baby. So I have more stories I want to record for you guys tonight. I want to do number 90. I want to do Was It an Illusion? I've got a bunch. So, and I'm uploading like my backlog. I recorded 300 stories in about 3 months. I guess I did in 3 months what it took other people 7 years to do. I did in 3 months. Well, but this is my full-time job, and I would sometimes just sit down and record. And all these stories are different lengths. If a story's 10 minutes, it takes 10 minutes, right? So, because like with these tarot things, we have to do shorts. Those have to be done in 13 seconds. People, they're like, they want them fast and easy. They want the short, you get in, you give them the card, that's it. So, anyways, if it's a short story, it's a short story. And then some of them are long, like The Haunted Baronet, that was like 4 hours long, I think. But it's a great story. That's by LaFonu, who I love. And it's set in Cumbria. So I love that story. I love all these stories, but that's a good one. I think I uploaded it. If I didn't, I'll upload it. Okay, I'll talk to you guys soon.